Hello fellow makeup lovers, how are you guys doing today? So I am very excited for this video because I'm going to be testing out a new palette from a brand new indie brand called Max Up the Makeup Cosmetics. So this is their Flower Child palette, which is so stinking cute. I love the packaging of this. It is very 60s inspired. I mean, it's very colorful, and it's one of those palettes where the inside does match the packaging, so that's a huge bonus. So before we jump into everything, I do want to mention really quickly that they did reach out to me and ask me if I would like to try this palette, and I said yes. And if you have not already seen the inside, once you do, you will know why my heart connects with these colors. So just to give you a rundown on the palette, it does come with a sleeve, and that's what it looks like. It's, I mean, the exact same thing. And then the palette is cardboard, which is what I personally prefer. It's a nice size. It's like the palm of your hand, or my hand at least. And then here is the inside. So you can see that there is a mirror, and then it's like 9 regular 26mm type of eyeshadow pans. And I love the color scheme. I love the different mix of like pinks and like this bluey green. Like the one shade in particular that really speaks to me is this one right here called Festival. It is the most beautiful minty blue shade. So there's a lot I could see doing with this palette. Today I'm going to try and use every single shade if I can, just to give you like a good first impressions. Although I will say I already swatched them and I kind of have an idea on how they feel, and I am pretty optimistic about that. So this palette does retail for $25, and also I did go ahead and just throw my shipping information in just to get a good idea, because sometimes shipping can like throw the cost of something way up. So I actually was really shocked by the shipping cost, because if I were to purchase this myself, could get it for only $3.84 for shipping, which was like USPS 3 days, something along those lines. So definitely found that very, very reasonable. In case you are curious about this, you can get it under $30. Well, I don't know if you can. I don't know what every single person's shipping address cost is, but mine personally was less than $30. And this palette is cruelty free. So let's just go ahead and jump on into swatches. I'm definitely more of like a t-shirt and jeans kind of girl, but I did go ahead and like pull out one of my more like groovy interesting shirts. Well, actually it's a dress, but nobody needs to know that, to go along with the theme of this palette. So all right, the very first shade is a really light pink shade called Fringe, and I would describe the texture of all the mattes to be buildable, with like, they feel soft, but there's also not a ton of kickback from just swatching. So there is Fringe, just one swipe. I need baby wipe. And then the next shade is like a medium orange tone called Groovy. And then the last shade in the first row is Vintage, which is like a deep red with like some good depth to it. It's not like a vibrant red. The first shade in the middle row is called Daisy Chain, and it is like a metallic soft pink shade. So I really like this one in here, because this is like my ideal inner corner highlighting shade, and it does look to be pretty metallic. Then the middle shade here is called Hippy Dippy, which is like a true vibrant lime green metallic, and it feels so soft. And then the last shade in that row is a hot pink called Psychedelic Summer. This one does feel slightly drier to the touch, but it is, you know, pretty bright. All right, so the next shade is called Thrifting, and it looks to be like a pretty true teal matte shade. Super creamy. And then, like I said, the color that speaks to me the most is Festival. This beautiful mint right here. It is a metallic shade. I love that. And then the last shade in the palette right here is called Paisley, and it looks to be a bright sky blue matte shade. So there are all the swatches. I feel like my baby wipe low-key has tie-dye vibes. Alright, so now for the fun part, I'm going to go ahead and throw on a headband, zoom you guys in a little bit, and get these bad boys on my eyes. Alright, so I'm going to start off with Fringe, that light pink. And I'm gonna throw that in my crease a little bit higher up than I normally would, just because I'm gonna be putting a few different shades in my crease today. and I'm using a fluffy brush. This is the 228 Luxe Crease from Zoeva. So I'm just building that up a little bit, although it does look to be a nice amount of pigment. It's showing up pretty well. Alright, now I'm taking Psychedelic Summer and I'm going to use a ColourPop blending brush. This was before they had names on their brushes, so I'm not sure what the name is, but it's basically like a MAC 217 type of shape. And I'm going to go ahead and throw that in my crease. And I am going to do a few layers, build that up a little bit. I'm just going in with the previous brush and just blending a little bit, although I think that looks pretty good. So I think I might pick up just a little bit more of Fringe and just blend that over the top. Alright, now I'm taking the orange shade Groovy, and I'm using a BH Cosmetics number 8 brush. This is like from their Pro line, and it's just like a smaller crease brush. And I'm going to go ahead and start this orange off in the outer corner. That's pretty pigmented. I'm just going to go back in with my previous brush and just blend the edge of that just a little bit more. Alright, on that same brush, I'm going to go ahead and take Vintage. I'm actually going to go in with a touch more of the orange over top and just kind of sandwich that between because I really like that shade. Alright, so really quickly I'm going to go ahead and cut my crease and go about 2/3 of the way in. Alright, so really quickly I'm just going to take whatever's left over on that crease brush and just kind of tap out where that cut crease ends. I'm going to add a touch more of Groovy, the orange, and then just a touch more of Vintage. Alright, now for the part I'm most excited about, I'm going to go ahead and take Festival, and I'm going to put that on my lid. Just applying it dry. So I pretty much filled up my lid, and now I'm just gonna like very carefully tap the rest of the way into the orange. Just taking my crease brush and just slightly blending. Alright, now I'm gonna go ahead and take the shade Paisley. And I'm just using a small crease brush from Wet n Wild. And I'm gonna go ahead and run that along like the entire lower lash line. I'm actually trying not to get this like super pigmented. I'm trying to only use the tiniest amount, so that's more of like a light blue transition. Now I'm taking the teal shade Thrifting. I'm just using an eyeliner brush, and I'm gonna pack that. Ooh. That's such a pretty color. Can't wait to do like a monochromatic blue-green look. I'm gonna take my fluffy brush and just blend that out a little bit. Now I'm gonna dip into Hippy Dippy. I'm just gonna use that same brush just cause, and I'm going to pop it on this part of my eye right here. Ooh. And then last but certainly not least, gonna go ahead and take Daisy Chain and pop that on my inner corner using a little detail shader brush from BH Cosmetics. This was in their Rose Quartz set, I believe. I'm just gonna pop a little bit of that underneath the brow bone. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and finish off my face, throw on some mascara, some lipstick, and I'll be back to give you my first impression thoughts on the palette. So I just went ahead and added the Too Faced Better Than Sex mascara, the Ardency In liner in the shade Jade to my waterline, and then my lipstick today is the Canon Cosmetics lip cream in the shade Creme Brulee, which is just like this beautiful glossy nude formula, so really enjoying that. Alright, on to my thoughts on the palette, my first impression. This is just a first impression, so I definitely have to keep using it more, wearing it throughout the day, seeing how it lasts. all the different details of using a palette long term, but from this moment I feel like I had a really good first impression of the palette, a really good encounter with it. I don't know what I'm trying to say right now. All the shades blended really well. I feel like pigmentation was really good. I love the finished look. I feel like it's definitely a lot different than what I've been doing recently. I've definitely been kind of stuck in like a monochromatic zone where I just want to do every look as like focusing on one or two shades. So this was fun to do something a little bit different, and overall I think the shadows performed really, really well. I will say that the shimmer formula I think is really intensely pigmented, but it's not like super sparkly or it doesn't look wet on the lid. Of course I only used it dry, so I definitely will have to use it wet and give you guys an update. You can see it's pigmented, it's beautiful, but it's not like the craziest shimmer I've ever seen, but it's a good in-between, and I really, really liked the different shades. I feel like it's a fun combination. I don't have any palettes with this color scheme. I think that the theme is so fun, so overall I feel like I am liking this palette and I'm definitely going to keep using it, and maybe I'll do like a 3 looks with this palette because there's definitely a lot more I want to do here, especially like in the monochromatic type of way. I feel like there's a lot here, especially like these 4 shades are calling to me so much to do a look, so fingers crossed I'll get around to doing that soon. But either way, I hope you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, and I will see y'all in the next one. Bye.